week. We are live, and we've got a special guest this week. This is going to be cool. We're going to do it a little different. I just got back from Vegas. I didn't have time to do all the things. There's another music space happening today with Josh Savage. So I never want to pluck the musical artists from supporting their friends. So it's me and my boy Gary. Gary, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm recovering from a very late evening last night. Still, I attended a concert. I haven't been to a concert in years. It's been since the pandemic, and I was rocking out to. I'm going to date myself here, but Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. It was a whole bunch of old people like me. It was awesome. It was crazy. A bunch of old people trying to act like kids, and I think we did it pretty well. So yeah, still in the recovery phase, a little bit of a late night. So, but it's all good, man. I'm happy to be here. We've both had busy weekends. I know you're in Vegas. You know, I did my thing this weekend. Getting ready to get ready for the week, and always looking forward to hanging out with you for the hour.
Yeah, man, this is always a good time. So this week, I think it's going to be cool because we only have one guest, and we're going to dive into a whole bunch of stuff with Sidney. So that's coming up here. But before we do, there's been some crazy stuff in the news, and some of that actually has to do with Sidney. So that's cool. Yeah. But before that, you brought up a couple things that you sent me some links to from the news this week in NFTs. Let's dive into it. Tell me a little bit about what you saw.
Yeah. So, something that it's actually, I hate to bring bad news to the space. I mean, we're in a bear market and we're all dealing with that. And it's bad enough that we have to deal with the fluctuations and the downturn of the market in general. But something that's happened a lot over the last 2 months specifically, I always call it the summer of scams, because it seems like everybody's getting scammed every time we turn around. But there was just a study done, and the study says that between July of 2021 and July of 2022, that there was $100 million worth of NFTs stolen or scammed out of wallets. And when I saw that number, I was like, holy cow, that is crazy, the amount of lost money. I mean, these are people's assets, and to have those stolen out of your wallet and to equate to $100 million worth of those NFTs, which is basically money going into these scammers or these thieves' wallets, it sucks. It sucks bad. And I guess it just shows how important it is that we be vigilant in anything that we do and anything that we connect. And I know at the Bulls and Apes Project, we talk about this all the time. We talk about being safe with your wallet. And don't click on DMs, don't click that free link. I know right now the free NFT is kind of the thing, and people are projects are using that as an entry into their project. Just be safe, don't click on something you don't know. If you get something in your DM, do some research, even research. I mean, shoot, I think somebody was scammed a few weeks ago. There was a Bored Ape Yacht Club holder that was hired to go out and shill a project, and it ended up being a scam project that took a lot of wallets for their NFTs. It sucks. So you never know. So just be vigilant. I guess the number one thing that we always talk about is get yourself a separate minting wallet. Get a wallet that's got a little bit of ETH in it so you can cover gas fees that you don't have anything else in. And if you want to go after those freebies, it's a degen space, go after them. But don't go after it with your wallet that has all your NFTs in it, So
especially not your good stuff. Dude, you know what? You totally just made me realize as you were talking right now, I was like, there's always going to be bad news in the space, and we're always going to have the Bulls and Apes NFTs 101 course and safety course, and that's the perfect plug. So every time you say some bad stuff, I'm going to click a button after. It's going to roll a video. It's going to be talking about the access to those online courses, and that makes me happy. So
yeah, something that you and I worked on, right? Yeah,
right.
It's something that you and I worked on, which was a lot of fun. And I know that we're working on the edits right now because we want to make sure that we put out a great product. This is talking, for the Bulls and Apes Project specifically. But I'm excited about it because I know there's a lot of information out there, and I like what we've got to present to the overall community. It is not specific to our project or the Bulls and Apes Project. This is for the overall NFT community consumption. It's going to be really good. I'm excited about the courses that we're putting out. They're desperately needed. We need the information out there. We got to educate this space because it is going to be the biggest barrier of entry for anybody new coming in if all they hear is that it's a bunch of scams going on, and part of those scams are these stolen NFTs. So we just got to look out for each other.
Well, speaking of informing people of important things, I just want to let everybody know that this week the mug I'm drinking from is a Tusken Raider from Star Wars, and
Hey,
I very much love to geek out with my boy Gary and his
that's right.
R2D2 in the background. So
That's right. I love it. I love
well,
it.
did you end up watching the video clip that I sent you of
Yeah, I
of the
did. It was
performance?
cool. You know what? I saw it and I thought, man, talk about what the metaverse, right? I mean, we got a glimpse of what the metaverse could be. You know, when you saw those characters singing, you know, Eminem and Snoop were, you know, in their character, their BAYC characters, and it was totally cool, man. I dug it. I know it's gotten a little bit of negative comments here and there from some social media posts.
Especially the gamers, the people that know
Yeah,
what's possible versus what was done.
what was done,
I
right?
thought it was kind of funny because for me, I said for a long time, you won't see me playing video games unless something dramatic happens in my life and I'm making more money and I have the time to sit and play video games. And literally Web3 has done that for me. So now I'm actually getting back into gaming, but it made me laugh because when I saw that video, I know my guy Jonah he's somebody who's always talking hardcore. This guy's a genius in the gaming world. But he was just slamming it so bad because he was saying it looked like it belonged on like PlayStation 2. You know what I mean? Like it was just old school, which is funny because that's like the last console that I actually played. That's how long ago. It was like 13 years ago
That's
that I was actually
funny.
buying new consoles. So not quite the PlayStation 5 caliber that a lot of the gamers are used to these days.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I think it was a cool step in the right direction. You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
cool step, and we already know just from our experience. You know, we talked about as a Bulls Next project talked about the metaverse being in our roadmap, and so we know we're going there. And I know that we're looking at a lot of different things right now, and it's going to get better. I mean, to at least get a glimpse into what that could be. You know, it's cool. They're on stage. You look in the audience, and it's a bunch of just other characters in the audience. They basically took a snapshot of the venue that they're at and created it in that space in the Web3, what we call Web3, right? It was cool. I mean, it just gives us a little bit of a glimpse. I mean, this is how everything starts, man. That's how everything started.
Yep.
Anything that we're doing, you get a little taste of it. Yeah, it could be better, but man, it sparks the interest, gets the creative juices going, and next thing people start
That's
doing
the
more
first
things.
time somebody's heard anything about the metaverse and actually sees like something and maybe gets their gears turning. So
Right.
mass adoption, that's how it starts. Hey, well, listen, I've got something that I want to start doing after we kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in the news and stuff. I just want to call out our community because this is actually a two-way conversation. It's not just me and you where everyone else just has to just listen and can't interact. Like we've got Stoner Bowls showing up in the house before anybody else. I think this was posted before I even showed up in the space today. So shout out to our our trait groups and the people that are coming in here. But we got all things crypto. We got Richard. We got Mr. McFly. We got all these different people that have just been in the space coming to hang out with us. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I mean, we appreciate you guys. The fact that people are showing up for the weekly fix. We want you guys to be able to interact and I think that this show is going to develop over time, especially with the different guests that we have. But shout out to Chili 710, Sahil. We got Nons. We got all the people in the house. So
yeah, it's awesome. And thanks, guys. I mean, I know that we hear a lot of you in our spaces, but this is a whole different platform and format. You get a chance to actually see us talk instead of just hearing our voices, and being able to participate in the comments in the chat is really cool too. So thank you guys for hanging out and coming joining us for this hour that we do every week. It's fun. I look forward to it. But talking about something, I want to mention one more thing, and I know that we got an awesome guest, but something else, in Twitter, Twitter is of course the home for everything's NFT. It's what we do here, but Facebook and Instagram are trying to get in on the action. So they announced today that Facebook and Instagram will now let us post our NFTs. So it's going to be interesting to see, their Meta, of course, who's the new Facebook, is, been talking about the metaverse, and knowing that NFTs are so important to that space, are going to start allowing NFTs to be posted on their platform. So I think that they're seeing the traction that Twitter has gained with the NFT space and Web3 specifically, and that they went in on the action, right? So smart on them.
It's so interesting because, I spent years, I think I spent close to 10 years. I guess I did spend 10 years developing my Instagram following for Flyride. And the funny thing is for the longest time, I was like, I don't even know with these social accounts. Like, I'm not going to continue to build that brand like I was because of what I'm building in Web3 now.
Right.
But little things like that, I feel like one little shift where now I can actually start sharing with I mean, I want to say my former audience, but they're still my audience. They're still learning from the stuff I put out there. But I actually do think that it makes sense, at least with certain platforms. I will never touch my YouTube account because it's got 10 years of educating content and all that. I wouldn't all of a sudden start talking about NFTs. But I'm not really going to ever use my Instagram account to like keep posting up stuff about cars, but I will use it if I can integrate the NFTs that now I'm involved with or that I'm learning about or whatever. And I think that'll be a cool onboarding vehicle, as well as TikTok. I got 100,000 people on TikTok that I don't even make videos for anymore. And I'm like, that's actually an interesting group because it's not like you're always talking to the same audience. When you put out a video on TikTok, it just hits the masses. That 100,000 number, it doesn't really necessarily mean that those 100,000 people are seeing anything I put out. It's just that, you know, kind of the metric that says, hey, these people thought that what you were posting was good. So I'm actually interested to post on TikTok and Instagram moving forward, especially as they start integrating this stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, it's cool. And I'm curious to see what happens with Facebook. You know, Facebook has been kind of one of those platforms that I guess is for the boomers, you know, they say, especially in this space, right? It's us old people that still use it.
Well, now they're saying that about Instagram, bro.
I know. Isn't that crazy? And I don't even use Facebook much. I used to post all the time on it, and it's a family thing. But the fact that there still is the older generation that's on Facebook. So now that they're going to allow NFTs to come in because they do want to be, you know, Facebook wants to be meta, right? I mean, it's where they're going. So it's going to be interesting to see either one, if there's a younger generation that comes over to Facebook, because I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe it's the introduction of NFTs and Web3 to the older generation, you know, going and finding them where they're at. You know, they're not on TikTok. TikTok, Jesus, Gary. TikTok. Oh my God, that is terrible. Is that like a boomer or what, man? Holy
that's good. That's what we're gonna put on TikTok. We're gonna cut that little section out. I'm gonna make a piece of content for TikTok, and then we're gonna post your TikTok on TikTok.
TikTok on TikTok. That is terrible. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun to see. You know, Web3 is shaking up the space definitely, and everybody wants to get in. So it's cool.
Right on. All right. Well, let's bring in our boy Nifty Vicious. We were talking toys earlier. If you don't know, Gary, my background that really has tied me into NFTs was when I was young, I was hardcore into collecting like Star Wars action figures and all that. That's why I fell in love with Star Wars and all that. Nifty Vicious in the house. Welcome to the show, my friend.
How's it going, brother?
How about a quick little intro? Let's get your Sidney, but let's get a quick little origin story and start talking a little bit about your involvement in the space and toys. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. So
yeah, let's do it. I'll give you the quickie overview of where I came from. So started in apparel back in the day, way back in the day, invented some hats, and it kind of blew up for me and built my own manufacturing company. Was lucky enough to be right place, right time, invented a hat that Oakley jumped on with me and ultimately partnered up with Michael Jordan. And that kind of exploded me into the whole apparel scene and built that out for many years and ultimately opened up my own stores around the country and was in like 30 different locations with my hat brand, with my different patents and stuff. If you ever seen a hat with a little ring in it, like a piercing ring, that was my patent back in the day.
That's dope.
That's cool.
And then in 1999, I started my first toy company called Vital Toys, which I just revamped again. But company was called Vital Toys, and started with Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I was super stoked because I was such a huge fan. Did the 25th anniversary toys, and Cheech and Chong and Madonna from Desperately Seeking Susan and the Rocky movies. And then I was lucky enough to get in touch with Snoop, like I've done always. I just cold called somebody that I read in an article. I saw their name there and hit him up, and he picked up like, yo, I want to work with Snoop on some toys. Next thing you know, I get a call back in 10 minutes. Like Snoop said, go meet him in Vegas. So started work with toys with Snoop back in 2000 and came out with a bunch of his, actually there's one in the background over there. But we built out his toy line back in the day and worked on a bunch of products together. And then one of the guys who was distributing my toys was a big person that was involved with the Homies, and I was a huge fanboy of the Homies back in '98. And so when he told me that, I'm like, dude, I need to make the Homies toys. And so lucky enough, I connected with David Gonzalez and created all the large scale Homie toys, and that kind of built out my toy business. That lasted many years, and then I sold that company and got into a whole bunch of fun things, always product based and license based. Got into a lot of technologies, built out a lot of apps, and built out a Bluetooth company. And then ultimately I ended up back in the toy game and started a company called Super Rad Toys. And Super Rad was really part of the first wave of the whole vinyl toy scene. And so we did Dr. Seuss and Marvel, and did some more Snoop stuff, and ultimately built out some of my own platform toys called the Go Show Project, which became like a huge hit back then. And started another company called Plastic City Toys, and worked with Tristan Eaton and a lot of the other pioneers in that whole toy scene. So Frank Kozik, Tara McPherson, Sun Min, Jim Cook, Crayola, Cope 2. So really was immersed into the whole toy and art scene. And to kind of speed up and kind of get to more recent times, I ended up starting a company about 8 years ago or 9 years ago with my partners, Ronnie and Diane, called Up in the Lab. And the idea of this company was that we were going to build all these dope things together. So the first product we launched was an emergency battery for a cell phone. So it was pre-charged. You popped in your phone wherever you were. You had emergency power, up to 8 hours of juice on the go. That's the name, Juice to Go. And so over the last 8 or 9 years, we built maybe 10 or 15 different product lines, mostly direct to consumer. About 5 years ago, we started a Preserve Rose brand. And if you're not familiar with Preserve Roses, a lot of times they come in a box and you'll see like 16 roses, super high-end product. And so we decided we wanted to take it to the mass market. So we built this brand called Four Keeps Roses, launched it in 7-Eleven, and it became a huge success for us. So we sell to about 10,000 7-Elevens. Prior to the pandemic, we were geared up to be probably in 40 or 50,000 retail shops when the pandemic hit. But now we just got into Extra Mile out here in California, another 1,000 stores. Mm-hmm. And we just got picked up by Rite Aid. So we're expanding out our Preserve Rose business. And so about 20 months ago, got turned on to NFTs. And, I had kind of put away my toy world, kind of was put away. I put all my toys in storage, was kind of burnt out on that whole scene. And then when I saw my first NFT, I was like, these are just toys. Yeah. And I was so stoked. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, I need all my toys. So like, if you can't see my office, it's all toys now, like all around me. I mean, I have some behind me, but really like everywhere. It doesn't matter where I go. There's a toy somewhere, like everywhere.
That's so cool.
Like literally all around my life now is toys. So we were super excited. And so we built Non Fungible Art, which is our company. And we really focused at the beginning on fine art and photography. So like behind me, this is one of the photographers we signed up. His name is Marvin Rennig. He did iconic photos of bands from the 70s and 80s, and signed a bunch of other contemporary artists, photographers. We ended up signing about $2.1 billion in physical art, ranging from masterpieces like Raphael, Titian, Ergon Schiele, and then ultimately acquired a collection by Steve Kaufman, who was Andy Warhol's last understudy. So we have a pretty large collection. I actually gave away about $250,000 worth of physical art with a 101 NFT on Spaces over the last few months. Wow. Just kind of educating people about to me, the future of NFTs, which a lot of people don't get, is having that physical good attached to that NFT as a certificate of authentication that's on the blockchain, right? So people don't really get that yet. Yeah. So we wanted to kind of get out there and explain to people. So we built out 16 projects. And if you get a chance to go to our website, you can take a look at nonfungibleart.io. And there's literally 16 projects we built out through photography, toys. I mentioned our Go Show project. So this is a Go Show. This is done by Plastic God. So imagine this as a canvas, a blank canvas, and then artists would put their artwork. So we built out a app, which is the first 3D digital toy app where an artist can upload their art real time, create a digital Go Show, and then mint it into our collection. So our goal is to have 1 million Go Shows in our collection. We're going to launch it in 2023. So kind of give you a history of what we did was, so we built all these things. We put a lot of time and energy into building out our art, our Steve Kaufman collection. We have a collection of 80 one-of-one superhero paintings. We animated them all. We built and built and built and built. And then we finally got the rights to the homies, which for me really was exciting, because not only have I made physical homies in the past, I wanted to be the first person to put out a digital collectible toy on the Ethereum blockchain.
Let me ask you a question about the homies real quick though. That was like back in the day. That was like the gumball machines had, like, you could get the little homies, right?
Yeah,
the little tiny guys.
This is him. So like this is one that I keep with me for the last like 20 years. I paid $150 for this because I wanted it so badly. I couldn't get it in the vending, but this is what a little homie looks like, right?
Right.
It's a little toy. They're actually they are on series 13 right now, which is sold out. They've already produced series 14 and 15 are coming out. The brand is massive. Dave Gonzalez has killed it. So they sell in, I don't know, 60 or 70 countries, apparel, all different kinds of accessories. So the brand
so cool.
Started 30 years ago. I really say he was 0.0 when we talk about Web3. Right. He was a comic strip in Lowrider magazine back in the 70s. And then it progressed in the 80s. He started the Homies brand. By 98, he launched his first toy and vending. And then now in 2022, we're doing the Crypto Homies, which again, so cool. it's really the first collectible NFT line. So it's not a PFP project. It's really built around collecting the series or collecting sets. And the more sets or the more pieces you collect in a set, the more utility we're giving back to the holder. So
that's the kind of stuff that, like, I don't hear people talk in practical terms. Actually, when we were in Vegas, I moderated a panel, and one of the guests that was up on the panel was Tracy Lee, and she gave me the best analogy ever, and I love this. She said that when people are talking about NFTs, they're always talking like overcomplicating. They're always saying all this stuff about, you know, like what the actual acronym means. Like who even cares to explain what fungible means? Like that is not the point. She said, think of it like you're talking about a radio. If you were to ask somebody who built that radio to explain what a radio is, they're going to tell you all the little components. They're going to talk to you about waves and all sorts of stuff that at the end of the day, that person might just be wanting to find out, like, oh, I can listen to music on this thing. You know, it's a completely different beast depending on who you ask. And I think we're all talking about NFTs in non-practical terms, like the guy that would tell you about all the components and the capacitors and the transistors and this, that, and the other inside that radio. I loved that she said that thing about radio, because half the space doesn't realize that even talking about toys, there's such a perfect parallel right there. So I just wanted to call that out, that with the stuff that you're doing right now, it's not a PFP project, and a lot of people think that that's what NFTs are. It's just just PFP projects.
Yeah, we are
so this is
building outside of that. Yeah, we have not done a PFP project yet. We will have some PFP stuff, obviously, but that hasn't been really our focus. Are you guys familiar with Vivi? Do you know the platform? So Vivi is a digital toy platform. It's all just 3D digital toys. And the guy who started it, David Yu, is out of New Zealand. He has a toy store there. I used to sell him my toys. Wow. And again, when I got into the scene and I saw, I'm like, holy smokes, this guy is selling digital toys. What a genius. Right. Like, I don't need to tool it. I don't need to go do all these things. You
don't have to stick it in storage like all of my Transformers and my Star Wars vintage stuff. Like,
No
So
packaging, right?
Digital,
that's
please.
why that's why I
I
was
would
so
trade those for
excited
digital.
right. That's why I was so excited to do the homies, and to, like I said, to bring it to the blockchain on Ethereum, where it's open to sell and trade and collect,
Mhm.
versus in Vivi, it's locked, right? It's in their platform, it's their coin. You can only sell and buy and trade it within the Vivi world. And I wanted something that you could actually trade on the open market. So started to work on the homies. And then the real epiphany happened. Then we sat down as a company and we're like, wait a second, what's missing in the NFT space? And it's people, right?
Mhm.
That was the main thing we realized. Like, there's not enough people here. People, like you had mentioned, people don't. You tell them non-fun NFT, and then people start. Well, this is what fungible. Well, it doesn't work. It's you lose people, and
It's
then
just boring.
then they talk about, well, it's a JPEG. You lose people. So what we decided to do is we decided to open a venue. So we're building out a venue right now in Vegas that comprise of immersive experience, like a Van Gogh experience, but dedicated to art and NFT projects, an immersive gallery, an IRL space, a retail space, a place for branded food trucks, NFT food trucks, and building a place. We called it the Compound. It's been called Nifty's. Everybody's been kind of calling it different things. And so we decided to launch a pass, NFA pass, and the NFA pass, which I'll, whenever you guys want me to, I'll kind of get into it with you. But we launched it to give people VIP access to this venue, and to really intimate IRL events where you could network and really meet and really do business together. So that's kind of been our focus now. Over the last 2 or 3 months, we shifted away from the homies. We're going to be launching the homies as our first project. The homies collection is insane. We have over 90 one-of-one pieces, tons of collaborations with NFT projects, a lot of music artists. All the homies come with a Snoop Dogg song, which we're super stoked about.
That's dope.
Snoop is an advisor in our company, and we're launching a bunch of projects with him right now. We're
Hey,
launching.
let me ask you something about
Yep.
Snoop real quick, because like, I mean, I grew up right around the corner from Claremont. Like, I remember when, like, my friends, my homies would go drive past and be like, oh, let's go drive past Snoop's house in Claremont. But him being involved in this space now, I think I've heard way too many times people say, because they don't know, that they're just like, oh, Snoop doesn't care about this stuff. Snoop doesn't care about this stuff. But I'm like, then you see behind the curtain and it's like, why would he mess with his name and do things like what he did on the VMAs? Why would he be an advisor? Like, that's,
Snoop
you don't
is
have to
first
be
of
an
all,
advisor. So can you
first of
talk on
all,
that?
yes. First of all, listen, I've known Snoop for 20 plus years. He's an innovator. He's ahead of his time. Um, he's one of the coolest people on the planet, the hardest people, like hardest working person on the planet I've ever met. He's thinking 50 steps ahead. He's a marketing genius. So he gets it. He sees the vision. He's always ahead of his time, and he loves this space. So he sees the future on multiple different levels. He loves his NFTs. He has, obviously, he has the most famous Basie, right?
Right.
In Dr. Bombay. He sees it as a, multiple level brand that he's going to be doing a lot of things with. So anybody who thinks that Snoop is in it just for money is crazy. He doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And he doesn't need to waste his time.
Right.
He's literally involved in so many different things, which is crazy, because he'll be like, I didn't even know he was working on the Jamie Foxx movie. And then the Jamie Foxx movie comes out. And then all of a sudden he drops that song with Eminem. I'm like, wait a second, where did that come from? And then 2 weeks later, he's like, yo, I'm in the studio with Dre. I'm like, holy smokes, he's in with Dre. Then he's coming out with a cereal. Then he's doing his kids show. Then he's doing, so he's on it, right? He knows his vision. He knows what he wants to do. And it was funny. I hadn't talked to him for a few minutes, and I get a phone call, and he's like, yo, it's Snoop. We got business to do. And so, we used to do our toys back in the day, and he hit me up. He's like, you got to come over. We got to talk about working on these toys together. So, here I am like, okay, this is so dope. He could be talking to anybody about doing toys. And, he's like, yo, you're the only person that I do toys with. You're my dude.
That's
so
a good phone call right there.
Oh, dude, it was so amazing because it was actually one of his guys, Daddy V, who I've been friends with forever. They call him Daddy V, the OG Compton Daddy V. And so Daddy V calls me. He's like, yo, I got this is the call. Yo, I got Christmas on the phone. And I'm like, who? He's like, yo, I got Christmas on the phone. And then he's like, yo, it's Big Snoop. What's up? And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. So yeah, it's amazing the way he thinks about things, and he thinks about things on a big scale, right? Like everything's a very big scale, and he realizes the global reach that he has. But I've never met anybody, I was telling Snoop that, and my dad passed away, but my dad always used to say to me, there's something unique about Snoop. He knows his audience. He knows who he's speaking to, how to speak to them, how to address them, how to get on their level. And that's something that's unique about him. Like if he was talking to my dad, he could talk to my dad. If he was talking to a 90-year-old person, he could talk to a 90-year-old person and make them feel like they've known each other forever. So he knows his audience. He knows how to deal with people. And it's kind of unique to think like, someone that famous really even knows how to do that kind of a thing. Because most people don't.
It's like
care.
A Gary V thing. Like that totally, that like speak the language of the people that you're speaking to. I think that actually goes full circle back to talk about the song that comes out of the radio. Don't talk about the stupid capacitor inside of the radio. You know what I mean?
I always say, I don't really care. I don't really care how I'm seeing you right now. I just like the fact that I see you, right? I don't want to worry about like, why does everything work the way it works? It just does.
Yep.
Right. It's like the TV, I turn it on and there it is. Like, that's all I need to know. Like beyond that, like I'm not a electrical engineer. That's not where I live my life. I'm a products guy. So I can tell you how to make a gazillion products, how to market them, how to sell them, how to go about doing that stuff. But I don't really need to know why everything works the way it works. Right.
And that's what I love about this space, because you have people with like this amazing background, all of this experience doing something that has nothing to do with NFTs in terms of like what most people think NFTs are. But then when you really look at it, it has everything to do with NFTs, because it's all of that skill set that you've used for years and years directly applies to how all of this stuff will be integrated into mainstream. And other people just haven't done that yet. So if they're like, oh, well, that's not how you talk about NFTs. It's like, yeah, not in 2020, but maybe in 2023, when all of a sudden people are asking questions and it's not about smart contracts. It's actually about like, wait, do I get an NFT when I go to that concert? Like what, like speak their language, So this is cool,
everything
man.
will be tokenized. Everything will be connected because you can authenticate everything. And yeah, you're right. It's kind of, we're such the infancy that I don't think people realize how NFTs are going to be really integrated, from, insurance companies to medical records to everything that we do will be on the blockchain. Right. So
property titles, vehicle titles. I mean, it's endless.
It's endless.
Yeah.
And it's funny because people confuse that even with the metaverse. Right. They think the metaverse is one thing versus what an NFT is versus what we're doing. Right. To me, the metaverse is the game side of what we're doing. And yes, maybe it's a lot bigger. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's not going to happen in my lifetime. And it may be something that I never personally adopt. Right. It just may not be for me. It may be the kids who are 20 years old who 10 years from now, their whole life is going to be within this metaverse. I don't know. Maybe, we don't know. None of us know what it's going to be. Maybe Zuckerberg knows. He's created.
Maybe Snoop knows.
Snoop knows. Well, Snoop definitely knows. Listen, I thought the performance was amazing, right? And I heard you talking in your pre-show about, people were dissing it and this and that. It was dope.
Yeah, it was very cool.
just look at it as just a performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to be like, oh, the metaverse looks like it's on PlayStation. Well, who cares? It was a dope performance. It was a lot different than just Snoop and Eminem on stage smoking a blunt, dancing around with some music. So it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was cool. Like, okay, rad. Like, I want to see performances like that. And if it gets better, and when it gets better, and when you can put on goggles, or when we wear glasses, or whatever it is that's going to enhance that experience, cool. But for now, man, I thought that was the dopest performance of the night. Just obviously because it's Snoop, and I love Snoop, and I love M, and I have that's the first, but it's like visually, which one was cooler than anything else, right? I mean, that was the coolest performance of the night. At least it was different. And for anybody in the NFT space not to appreciate, like, yo, here's a property, the Bored Apes, that a year ago nobody knows, and now Snoop has the most famous Bored Ape in the world.
Yep.
He has a real life Dr. Bombay that's around, out and about in the streets, that's at his concerts, that ultimately will probably be doing his own concerts. And I had a little part to do with that. I helped Snoop design the look and feel for Dr. Bombay. I mean, so for me, I have a connection to that. So every time I see that character or whatever, I'm like, man, I had a little bit of input in that. It's kind of sick. So I thought it was dope.
Well, I could literally talk about this all day. The toys, that side of things. Actually, one little side shoot. Gary, the funny thing is, my guy didn't.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah, that's your guy right there.
That's Dr. Bombay.
Yep.
This is our figure that we're coming out with Snoop right now.
That is so cool.
So the toy line, and he knows Garib from Kumite. And because of the magazine that I was fanboying out with Garib talking about Toy Fair magazine, and Sidney knows that whole word. So this whole thing of, I definitely say it has everything to do with NFTs. I
was telling Chris that Toy Fair, the thing about Toy Fair magazines, that the cover was always toys. So when you would get the magazine, it would be the sick toy or whatever. I got Snoop on the cover of Toy Fair magazine. So the only person that ever was on the cover of Toy Fair magazine was Snoop Dogg as a person, which is really sick. And it was to promote our toy we did back in the day. Right. So yeah, I have a rich history with Toy Fair, and I can't wait to connect with those guys, because I'm like,
yeah, right after this, man, I will connect all the DMs and all that. It'll be cool.
Stoked. We had all of our toys always featured in there for
matter of fact, I say we bring you back and we bring Garib on the show, and we will just nerd out. Gary, I hope you're ready to talk about toys, because I'm going to go to my storage. I'm going to get my Jay and Silent Bob guys, my toy machine toys from the skateboard world, like all of that.
I'll bring all my toys out that were featured in the magazine. I have a whole filing cabinet of all my Toy Fair magazines we advertised in. Nice. And it's funny to think about that, because I look at my old ads that I used to run in Toy Fair magazine. But that was when there was actual retail. If you think about it, there is no real retail anymore.
Man, I remember I made Pokemon figures out of Super Sculpey because I couldn't buy them at the store because it was so early with Pokemon when it came out, because I'd be playing on my Game Boy on the bus, and I just couldn't go buy that because nobody knew what Pokemon was. So like Sculpey, the toy world is
make our toys. That's how we sculpted all of our toys back in the day.
That's so cool. All right, well,
now all the toys are done digitally. We do all of our sculpting on the computer.
That's cool. So that makes it even easier than if you're doing it on the computer to convert NFTs into that digital artwork.
Like 100%. A bull.
It's a marriage right there, right? I mean, it's connected.
100%.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's gonna be so rad. It's toys. I know actually our friend Sammy Arriaga, he just got a toy made of him as well. And he's not an NFT, but now he's a toy. So that's pretty cool. But well, so let's talk about this NFA pass, because I think that's gonna make the practical side of all of this stuff really hit home for people, where that pass is gonna get them kind of open up their eyes and get them kind of immersed in this whole world. So what can you tell us about it?
So the NFA pass is kind of unique. So yes, it's a pass, right? So we're giving them access. The people who buy our pass, They have access to whitelists for our projects. We're giving them 4 NFTs from our current collection over the first 16 weeks so that they know they have stuff coming in. But the key part, like I mentioned, is they actually have access to our venue. So they'll have a 2.5 year VIP access to our venue for our immersive events, immersive gallery, all the different things going on there. But what we wanted to do was to build a super community, right? So the pass holders are where it starts, but then we decided we would bring in project partners, and the project partners would be the ones helping us market our pass. So we brought in about 150 project partners, and we're giving utility back to the project partners. So they'll have access to have their artwork featured in our immersive gallery. They'll be able to co-sponsor events at our IRL event. They'll be able to sell stuff at our retail venue. And then there's about 100 other ways that they can market and be involved in our space, including an AR app that we're doing. We have an AR app that's going to be the largest AR app in Vegas, hopefully in the world. We'll have 20 experiences just at the venue. So we're expecting 1 million people just to come to our venue to participate in the AR app. Then we're giving these project partners access to our toy development platform. So because of my 25 years making toys, if you're a project partner, we'll help you sculpt, market, and sell your collectible. We've built out an e-commerce print-on-demand platform that we're giving again to our project partners so that they can, on the fly, create a store, start marketing and selling stuff out to their communities. And then beyond that, they have about 10 other things that the project partners get. If they have a lot of people that support our project, they can have IRL events at our venue, and on and on and on. But then we decided, how do we really give value to their holders? So anybody who holds an NFT from one of our project partners, we're giving them free access to come into our immersive gallery venue. So instead of paying to get in, they come to Vegas, they show an NFT for a project partner, they can get into the venue. And then we also gave them our print on demand platform. Why do we do that? There's so many people with NFTs that have IP rights that will never be able to start a business. They have no clue what to do with it. And now we give them a platform they can go in on the fly, literally 400 products, slap up your NFTs, start marketing them, sell them to your friends and family.
So smart, dude.
And now guess what happens? 3 things happen. One, they're going to be diamond handed. They're not going to want to sell the NFT because now they're making money. Number 2, we're hoping the floor price will go up because people will be like, yo, I want to grab that NFT from that company because I can get IP rights and I can make money. Yeah. And then ultimately, we want everybody to get that little blue check mark because their volume of sales are going up, right? So at the end of the day, our goal, 20 to 50,000 new people a month that are coming from Web 2 to Web 3 through our venue. So when they come in, person comes in off the street, they pay to get in. We made a deal with MetaMask. So we'll get them on board. We'll have people there on our staff to help you onboard your MetaMask. We'll gift everybody their first NFT. All of our project partners will have their PFPs on the wall with a dynamic QR code. So people coming in, if they see something they like, they can find out more information about it, hopefully support that project. And, it kind of falls under, we have our 3 pillars of the company. It's collect, experience, connect. That's NFA's motto. Collect our NFTs and our project partners' NFTs. Experience Web3 at our place. Smell it, taste it, feel it, see it, touch it. Right? So we'll have branded trucks there from NFT projects. They can taste the food, kind of like what Bored and Hungry did, right? Down in Long Beach. See it, touch it, all that stuff, and then connect. We want people to connect at our venue, at our events, and really do marketing, really do networking together. So instead of going to a large venue convention, which we love, we're not saying don't go to NFT here, NFT there, but we're just saying at our venue, when somebody comes off the stage, you're going to be able to shake their hand and talk to them and hopefully gain that information and ask them questions and have that more one-of-one kind of experience.
And maybe go at the casino later that night, because I literally just got back from an experience that is so parallel to that you could watch somebody speak and then maybe even speak with somebody else and then realize like, well, that person's super dope. I need to go hang out with them like later. And that connectivity is, I mean, what you're
It's
talking
huge.
about right now is it's all the things.
Well, that's why we picked Vegas. That's why we
cool.
picked Vegas, right? So
Right.
we're based in LA.
Mhm.
It would have been great to open up a venue here in Los Angeles, right? It would be a lot easier for us. LA sucks when it comes to nightlife. 9 o'clock at night, nothing's open.
NFTLA was such a joke because everywhere else, we were in Austin, we were in New York City, we're all over the place. Now Vegas, and it just went all night.
Right.
But in LA,
LA
might as well have been Kansas, dude. It
Yeah.
just shut down at 10.
Yeah, everything shuts down. So, and we're doing 24/7, 365 at our place. So our plan is to have things going on from 1 a.m. till 9 a.m. We're already talking to some people, some partners to come in and do a whole after hours scene there. We're looking at creating content for our immersive gallery, for the immersive experience that'll be late night content. So imagine like we haven't signed it, so no one get upset but imagine a Rock Your Picture show immersive experience that runs from midnight till 4 a.m, right? Or that type of content, right? So the idea is to really have stuff there all the time. You know, come in, have a drink, party, chill.
I just thought about Kumite. I'm like, oh my God, what if people went in there and they saw all their Kumite figures because they did something with them? Like, yeah, you got to talk to Garib.
Yeah, dude.
There's so many cool things.
So yeah, so we're really hyped on our NFA pass. You know, I always tell people we're building this for all of us. It's not just for NFA, because we could have very easily opened this place up, focused on our projects, made it really NFA centric. But we didn't feel that was right. If we're going to really try to expand the Web3 world, we need to expose people in Web2 to the whole vibe, to Bulls and Apes project, to the Doogies, to the Supreme Kongs, to, you know, all these, the OG Apes, to Stuffy Bunny, to all the projects. We need them to see everything so they can really get a flavor, because everybody's got a different vision. Everybody's got different utility. Everybody's got different artwork. And so we're super stoked. I mean, to build this community of 100, I think we're almost at 150 projects working together is like, I always say, we're bigger. We have the ability to move the NFT industry more than BASE if we stick together. If we're all in our own corner doing our own thing, it's never going to happen. But if we join together, we can build a foundation for the future. And that's really what NFA is about. It's really about this, a real ultimate super community of hundreds of thousands of people who at the end of the day, we need another 100,000 people in the space.
Right.
Yeah.
We all know what's going on in the market. We know there's 1,700 active wallets on OpenSea. It's a joke. We know that there's no building. I mean, we're all
the same people. It's just going in circles, and
you know,
this is
we
the way out of that.
Yeah, so, we're fishing in the same pond right now, and there's very few fish left.
But like I said, with NFA, we're really this isn't a one-minded kind of thing. It's really, when I sit with my partners, we talk about at the end of the day, what do we want to be known for? Yeah, it would be cool if people love our NFTs, but if they go, God, NFA brought 500,000 people into Web3, that would be the dopest thing anybody could ever say about it.
That's the legacy. Yeah. Yep.
That's what we want. Yeah, we want to sell the homies, and I want to sell these dope photos behind me, and I want to sell a gazillion toys and all that stuff. But for me, it would be much better if he goes, God, those guys helped bringing 500,000 people into the scene. That would be huge.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, it even makes me think there's a guy that I was asking around. We had an AR mask made for my buddy using one of his apes, and after that I was like, I need to find an amazing AR mask like creator. And I started looking on Snapchat and like they have these like highlighted creators or whatever, and there was like no way to get a hold of anybody. And then I started asking around like in NFT Twitter, finally found somebody that said that they knew the best guy in AR VR stuff, and he couldn't think of his name. And so for months I just kept checking in. Hey, do you remember that guy's name? Remember his name?
I can tell you who you want to talk to.
Well, so the guy finally comes back and says the guy's name is Marco Matic, and look into him. And he's He's working with some cool people. I reached out to this guy. He's in Australia, and he's just one of the most amazing AR VR guys ever. And the reality is, he's not going to sit and make a bunch of individual masks for people because he's working on huge projects. But because he is that voice of like authority, and people look up to how good he is at what he does at his craft, he could be that connector that then brings those AR mask people. Like if I had a Bulls and Apes mask, I'd be wearing it right now, and it'd be fun. We all could be wearing different masks or whatever. But I love that. That's the kind of thing that I just can't wait to get Mark in touch with you now, because him being plugged into this whole ecosystem, I think I got friends in Vegas that are awesome promoters. Like they'll be directed to you. You know what I mean?
So
that's the way.
One of the things that I'm really proud of that I didn't mention is our team, right? So I'm the face. I'm the guy who goes out there and talks a lot about NFA, but my team. So my partners, Ronnie and Diane, that I started the company with, we've been together for 10 years. The people around us, some of the people have been with me for 25 years. So even like Reese, who's one of our graphic guys, he's literally been with me since 94, right? Wow. And then you have Ziggy, who's an AR guy. He's been doing AR for 15 years. He and I have been working together for over 20 years. We started working together back in the Snoop day, and we built apps together, and he was a pioneer in 3D and now is a huge guy in AR. So nice. he's involved with us in all of our AR stuff, and that's somebody who he'll do those Snapchat type of masks and stuff, but way beyond that. He's for sure. What I love that he's building, he's doing interactive AR. So where AR becomes more gamified, and you can do a lot of different cool things. So our team is what makes NFA really pop. And then even our advisors, Snoop, Slash from Guns N' Roses, Ralph Sampson, Hall of Famer basketball player, Eliza Coop, director, actress, producer. We have a couple, PJ Bloom, Adrian Miller, 25-year music execs. And then even some young guys, Brando from
Brando's awesome.
I brought him in as one of our advisors. I'm a lot older than Brando. Dude is super sharp, and he's taught me a lot in the NFT space. So I feel like I've surrounded myself with super smart people, talented people, visionaries, Luvelli, all these guys, like people who really have a sense of what's going on. So I couldn't be happier being in the position we're in. And even though people say we're in a bear market, I'm super bullish.
Builder market.
Yeah,
I'm in a builder market.
Yeah, I'm in a builders. We're building big, and everybody knows. Anybody who knows me and talks to me knows, like, our vision is huge. And that was something that I really liked about what you guys do at Bulls and Apes, and talking to Anthony and talking to some of the other people there. I mean, you got to have a vision, and it's got to be big. And I always tell people, being an entrepreneur is the hardest job on the planet, right?
Firefighter right there.
I was studying to be a doctor, got into business. And I always tell people, when I get up to bat, I'm trying to hit a grand slam every time, and I'll strike out. And guess what? Then I get right back up and I go back. And most people can't handle it, right? Most people, like, they hit a wall once and they're like, okay, I don't want to hit a wall again. And I'm used to hitting walls and then breaking through the wall. And that's what we're about at NFA. And so, listen, I appreciate you guys. I know we're coming down to the end of our time, but
I would have felt so bad. What if we had another guest? Because I'm not even halfway done, but we're gonna definitely have to have you come back.
Dude,
we're just getting started.
I would love to come back and talk toys. That would be sick. And hopefully when we get our venue open, which is opening this year, you guys will do something from the space there. Maybe you guys can even
do a live there. We'll do a live show.
Yeah.
Now you guys already have the property. You guys already have the space.
Yeah. Somebody just said one bull toy. 100%. We need to be doing a bull toy. I mean, that's something I didn't even think about talking to Anthony about. I mean, that's something that's like, that should already be in the works. Come on now.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's talk to Anthony, man. That's an
easy breezy one.
For sure. Well, this is something that Gary usually does, and I will at least remember today, because I'm going to add all of this stuff to the description of this video later. Can you start dropping some different links to yourself, to different projects, to anything that you want people to have access to that we've talked about here, so that we could link it up later and people actually have something that they can go do after having just watched this video? Because keep in mind, somebody's going to watch this a month from now, and they're going to see the very end of the video, and then they're going to find out about these links, and they're going to be dying to go deeper and find out about it. So
do you want me to send those to you in the chat? Is that what you want?
No, yeah, you could just mention them, and I'll add them to the video later myself.
By the way, one thing I forgot to mention is Vital Toys, which I kind of talked about. So Vital Toys, we relaunched the brand. And right now we actually made a deal with Silver Fox. That's a statue company that does, 1/8 scale statues. So we have the exclusive right now for Black Adam for the movie coming out.
Cool.
So we just previewed the other night, again selling it through the blockchain. We just previewed our Black Adam 24 karat gold covered piece, free worldwide shipping. So we have these great statues, and the idea was, instead of going on, the web and buying one of these pieces and doing it the regular way with fiat and whatever, buy it with crypto, get a certificate of authentication with a graphic of the piece.
That's cool.
And so we're launching the Black Adam. We have Batman, we have Harley Quinn, we have all these dope statues, and we have a bunch of stuff coming out with them, Star Trek and whatever.
Cool, man.
So Vital Toys, you definitely want to check out. You can check us out on Twitter, even though we just relaunched it, vitaltoys.io, nonfungibleart.io, and nonfungibleart on Twitter. You can check me out at Sidney Richlin. I'm also known as Nifty Vicious, and obviously I'm out there in docs. Everybody knows who I am. You can also check out the Crypto Homies. So it's cryptohomiesclub.io, and you'll get yourself a little info about what we're up with that. And then if you take a look at you can take a look at Snoop's Buds. It's Snoop's BUDS. We haven't launched it yet, but it's a new product line we're doing with Snoop. So if you want to be one of the first people, go follow the Twitter. We put some hints on there what it is. But, a lot of people have ideas what it is, but I don't think anybody's hit it yet exactly what we're doing with it. But we're super stoked about that. But I think that would probably be the main things that you want to hit. So Vital Toys, Non Fungible Art, Crypto Homies Club. And that's it for now.
Not to mention, I will.
That's it. That's a lot
of the. No, this is great. And I'll add one more to that, or two more, maybe even the website and the address of the venue in the future. I'll just go ahead and add that into this thing, so that when somebody's watching this a year from now, they'll know where that they should show up in Vegas.
We don't have. So people have been calling it the Compound. People have been calling it Nifty's. We have not named it yet officially. So there's not an official website.
Yeah, we'll have that eventually. I'll just retroactively edit this.
I'll drop a little alpha here, even though I'm wondering if I'll get in trouble. Actually, I can't drop it. We're doing it. I'll tell you why. Yes. I'm doing a space tonight at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys probably know Xenu.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So
absolutely.
Xenu and I we're partnering on a bunch of stuff, and tonight at 6 o'clock, we're doing a space on Twitter where we're making some big announcements. I was going to drop some alpha, and if I did, then people would be pissed.
You can tell us after I hit the end broadcast button.
When we're off the broadcast, I'll give you the alpha.
Sorry, Bulls and Ape family.
Sorry, you guys.
I know you want to know, but you'll have to tune into the Twitter space.
Hopefully, the next big alpha we'll be doing a toy with you guys, because that would be
cool.
That'd be so sick. But yeah, man, we're pumped. We're really stoked. We're happy to be part of the space. This has been like my rebirth. The NFT space has really been
me too, man.
Really kind of got me pumped up on stuff again. And I'm awesome, stoked to be able to share with you guys what we're up to in your community.
I appreciate it.
And last thing, we did put up a tweet tonight during the space, which is a special thing that we're doing for Bulls and Apes. We're giving you guys a whitelist to our NFA pass. And it's a special thing that I worked out with Anthony. Great. So anybody who sees that tweet, definitely jump on there and sign up for the pre-mint. and there'll be some surprises specifically for the bulls and apes that'll come out of that.
I'm in it. I'm in it.
That is rad.
I don't know how you find the time, man. Holy cow, you are doing so much stuff. I just
15 hours, no joke, 15 hours a day.
Yep.
I was doing 10 hours in spaces, which I actually kind of hit a wall health wise,
right.
and had to take a 2-week break, doctor's orders. And so I'm trying to like bring down my time on spaces. I think this weekend I did like 8 hours or 7 hours.
Wow.
But I'm trying to cut it down. Thank God I have, like I said, if it wasn't for the team, even for our Web 2 stuff, we have a great team of people who handle and manage our warehouse and manage all of our shipping and all the different stuff we're doing for 7-Eleven and all these different things. So, but yeah, we're big. We go big. I always say I'm always in beast mode.
Yeah,
that's right. Well,
yeah,
thank you for being in beast mode and sharing with us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the very first chunk. There's going to be more, everybody. So
and I appreciate your time, man. I mean, you just said you're so busy, so spend an hour with us. I'm really honored, man.
We're huge fans of bulls and apes. And I was, I've had a couple of talks with Anthony. He's rad. Obviously, we know Anthony's history. He's a beast, no doubt. And the team there's are beasts. And the fact that you guys are working with us and giving us some time and giving us the love is huge.
No, absolutely.
And speaks volumes to our community. And so, listen, you guys giving us the time, how can we not, jump in here?
Sure.
I was like, of course I want to be in there with those guys.
Appreciate it. It's all about relationships, right? It's all about relationships in this space.
100%.
Such a young space. The friends we make now are going to carry us on for years to come.
100%.
Yeah, well, for you guys that watched, make sure you join us, subscribe to the channel, because when we do the future episodes with our boy Nifty Vicious here with Sidney, you're gonna not want to miss that.
Brother,
so make sure that you're subscribed.
I've been wanting to ask you one question. What's the figure up in the corner over your head?
Which one?
Who, me or
in the top box? It looks like in Chris, in your top box where you're sitting, it looks like there's an action figure behind you. Is that a figure up in the corner?
Which one? The Bulls and Apes?
No, next to the Bulls and Apes. When you have the Bulls and Apes right next to it, is there a figure up there or no?
Right there is I think it's a Star Wars. It's from Disneyland. It's a Star Wars thermal detonator thing of Coke. So,
okay.
Some kind of nerd thing.
I'm like, I wonder what toy that it's like. I'm like a toy guy. I'm like, I wonder what toy that is up there.
Here you go. Here's an Imperial Guard from Star Wars, vintage. So
nice.
There you go. I'll give you something.
You gotta have some Star Wars toys always around.
Yep, I got my R2. That side. Got my R2 back there. So absolutely.
I love it.
Well, after this conversation, I'm getting more toys in here for sure.
I know.
All right, you guys. I appreciate. I know we're over our deadline. Thank you so much.
Good.
You guys, everybody who showed up here, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming. I saw some of the people from our community giving us some love. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see you guys next week for sure. So I don't know. I appreciate you all for showing up and the fact that I even get to do this. Thank you. Good times. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.
See ya.
Peace, everybody.